You're live.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Hope everyone is getting ready for an awesome weekend. We're going to get you ready on the gambling slate for the weekend. Gianni's going to join us with the Steam Report. Teddy Covers is going to join us. We're going to talk some MLB, but you all know that I'm definitely going to get some NBA and NFL info out of him. Marco's going to join us to talk WNBA, but you guys know what we do. 30 seconds into the show, we start with our free play of the day. And there's only one thing that we have to talk about. It's the Nathan's hot dog eating competition. And this is a real bet. This is a bet that we make every year. And we're going to take Joey Chestnut under 70 and a half hot dogs eaten at minus 140. We were hoping there would be money coming in on the over. That has not happened. So we're going to lock this thing in now. This is a real thing. The competitors and Joey Chestnut have talked about when it's hot and humid, it is harder to eat these hot dogs, mostly because the buns kind of expand a little bit, and dipping it in the water, the buns just get bigger and bigger and bigger. The heat puts duress on the human body. It is going to be 98 degrees and humid where they're doing the competition. He has not cleared this total since 2021. Weird story. He got arrested a few months ago for slapping a guy at 1 a.m. who wanted to shake his hand. And the reason I know this is because it was at a bar 20 minutes away from my house. I was not there in person, but I've been there. I just don't think this guy's in the shape that he used to be in. And he doesn't really have to get to 71 hot dogs in order to win this competition. So we're locking in Joey Chestnut under 70 and a half hot dogs eaten. That is your Wager Talk play of the day, available on DraftKings. All right, Gianni, we got to bring in Gianni to talk about it. Gianni, we forgot to do Hammer Thursday yesterday. Does the Nathan hot dog eating competition count? That's a real play for us. We play this every year.
It definitely qualifies. I've hit the hot dog prop the last 3 years straight on the female side. I've gotten some really, really good information. In fact, a few years ago, I got inside information from someone that knew the girl that the amount of hot dogs she ate at practice, and we were able to make some money off of that. So yeah, I'm all for those kind of props, and I think we should make that your Hammer Thursday play of the week. Now, coming off a really nice day, I picked up 11 units, but more importantly, we added extra risk on Spain at plus 700 to win this entire World Cup. You guys know I had them to make the final 32, have them make the final 16, have them make the final 8, have them to make the final 4, have them in the championship game, have them to win the championship. I placed that many bets. I wanted that much risk on Spain. So far, it's like a free roll based on their results that we've been able to bet to date. Now, I released yesterday 2 soccer plays that weren't World Cup. It was like Finland and something like that. I had 4 of them today. 2, I was able to release to subscribers as 4%. One of them's for free. So go to WagerTalk.com. There's a 4% for free in soccer. They're both in Argentina, I'm pretty sure. I also had one in Estonia and one in Norway. Unfortunately, those were going off at 9 a.m., so about 4 minutes ago. I add those to the Steam sheet and I write the note, unable to release as premium due to timing. So the 2 plays that are in there, one in Estonia, one in Norway, both would be 4% best bets if I had an extra 3 minutes of time. But the cutoff is 15 minutes, and I got that one about, 12, 13 minutes before the hour. So we got cut off, but the other 2 are in there in soccer. I get it. All the attention's on the World Cup. But as you know, we went into the World Cup sitting number 1 in soccer from these type of plays, from the information from these accounts. It's not my handicap, unlike the World Cup that I'm doing most of the stuff based on the power ratings and the implied win probabilities that I get sent. Now, with that out of the way, I just wanted to clear that because there is a free 4% up with more than enough time to bet it. There's 2 soccer in the Steam sheet that would qualify as 4%, and that's going off now or just went off. And then one more was released. Now, talking to World Cup action today, that's what's going to get all the volume. In fact, I haven't seen much baseball, much WNBA at all from recreational bettors. Forget early in the day. I'm talking later in the day. You could log in late and it doesn't even matter. All the action's on the World Cup. Most of baseball is being used right now in parlays, same game parlays, prop parlays, side total parlays. They're not really straight betting Major League Baseball. So that changes the playing field as far as monitoring line movements on odds logic. You got to change how you monitor based on the playing field. Is it filled with recreational bettors? Is it filled with sharp bettors? Is it a combination? Right now, it's not a combination in Major League Baseball. But getting back to the World Cup, 3 matchups getting favorite money once again. They're betting Egypt. The public is. They're betting Egypt, Argentina, Colombia. Egypt, Argentina, Colombia. Egypt, Argentina, Colombia. I'm seeing those parlays everywhere. 3 most popular bets today: Egypt, Argentina, and Colombia. They're betting all 3 games over again. That's not rare. Pretty much World Cup risk has been on the over in every single matchup. Coming off another winner for a total for us in the World Cup. I'm staying very selective. So pay attention, please, to the steam sheet. Plays like Calgary and CFL would have been a premium just 2 weeks ago. Instead, I'm just adding it to the steam sheet. So please, 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 please pay attention to that. NFL college football releases should start coming in as we start getting some season win totals, some futures, and just staying busy. So whatever you want to get into, I have some info for you guys. As far as sharp money goes in World Cup, haven't seen anything on any of these sides so far. Like, again, a lot of the stuff is done on these props and team totals, stuff like that. We did see the total get hit. What was it? I think that Argentina, Egypt, and Australia, that one got bet over. But they haven't budged off that too. It's just the VIG that got changed. I saw that get a little bit of sharp money. But again, be careful with those overs in World Cup and even some of those money line 3-way favorites, because these groups are getting ahead of the public. And then later, they're working a lot of scalps. They're not keeping a lot of these bets, especially on those, minus 110s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. When you get to the minus 400s, 500s, those are almost impossible to scalp. But those lower money lines, they're being scalped like crazy. So, yeah, pay attention to that odds logic screen. So another good day of World Cup action ahead, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, I told you yesterday, my next door neighbor, I was like, I already know he bet all 3 favorites. He did, and he hit, so he's feeling good. I texted him earlier to ask what he bet, and I'm getting the 3 dots on the text message. So hopefully before you get off here,
Argentina and Colombia are guaranteed on his ticket.
I got Argentina
Egypt
minus
isn't
1.5. Yeah. Oh, here it is. I literally just got it. Here we go. Colombia money line. Yep. Over 6.5 corners, over 1.5 goals. So there you go.
Colombia I knew would be in there. And here's the thing. I have it capped right now. We have the probability of Colombia winning in the 3-way is 67%. So they should be, minus 200s to break even. No surprise, they're minus 230, minus 220, 230, 240. So no value there. We have Ghana expected to win the 3-way at 12%. So at plus 800, not even there can you really get, much value in implied win probability. And as far as the tie goes, so that we got that at like 20%, even there, 3-way, they're pricing them pretty good where there's no real EV and you kind of got to, pick the winner more or less. But they're on some of the spreads and some of the alt lines. That's where I found a lot of value on the sides, on the mispricing some of those alt lines. that they've been offering, but just not all the books offer those. Again, we got low-scoring teams today. Don't forget, Ghana and Colombia, 9 goals in a total of 6 games between the two. Verde and Argentina, 13 goals scored between the two in 6 games, and 12 goals scored Egypt and Australia. So since the knockout stage, this is that day where you're seeing these lower scoring teams. No surprises. There's 2s out there. A little surprised in the 3 with Argentina and Cape Verde. Now, I get it. Argentina's put up 8 goals in only 3 games. So, they're averaging 2.7 goals a game, but they're only allowing 0.33, less than a half a goal per game. And a Cape Verde team that isn't even averaging 1 goal per. So, to get that over, you're probably going to need Verde to score a goal because defensively, they're pretty sound. I mean, they've only allowed, 2 goals in their 3 games. So that, that tough there. Argentina's, they're going to advance, and they should advance. We have them advancing 90% of the time. So they should advance. The one that is close, Egypt and Australia, we have it close to 50-50 as far as who advances. But we do have Egypt capped at winning this game 39% of the time. I mean, the 3-way, cashing the 3-way 39% of the time. Australia cashing the 3-way 30% of the time. And then 32% on the draw. So if that draw gets up over 200, we may take a look there.
My guess is going to be Argentina -1.5 parlayed with Colombia. That gets you to -130. My guess is that's the parlay of the day that the public's going to be on.
They're going to lay it with Argentina. You're absolutely right. They're going to. I see it up to 2 goals. In juice, the -130. And most of the sharp shops. And again, I've seen 2.5s out there now. You to cash that ticket, you got to win by 3. At that point, you got to bet the over too. It's correlated.
Yes,
for you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it's automatic.
You're not seeing much in MLB today, huh?
No. So far, here's what we got. Not a lot of follow through, but a couple overnights. 954 Washington plus 135, 955 Mets plus 105, 960 Arizona plus 140, 976 the Athletics minus 120. 2 of the totals they got out ahead of, the Yankees over 9.5, I think that was. Yeah, 9.5. And then the over 8.5 in the Arizona Milwaukee. That's still available. A little surprise there because the public's going over in that game as well. And then WNBA, they hit Chicago at plus 8.5. But as I talked about yesterday, a lot of the WNBA steam comes late in the day. So keep your eye on those line moves, those last 2 hours leading up to tip-off.
Yeah, Marco's going to break down that game. We're just waiting on injury news on Asia Wilson. That's the big thing, and that's a player that'll move the line 2 or 3 points in WNBA, whether she's in or out. Gianni, I don't know if you were watching the Croatia game yesterday.
Yep. I've been watching all the World Cup. I've gotten really into it. I really have.
They call the offsides, and they're like, "Yeah, it grazed the guy's hair," and there's apparently technology.
AI picked it up, right? It's like in
I'm
the bowl,
calling
they have
bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that.
They had some kind of sensor in the bowl. They're saying,
get out of here. No, you're not convincing me at all that it brushed the guy's hair and that should have been offsides. No chance. There's no way. The spin of the ball didn't change at all. That was.
You think anyone can beat France?
Anything's possible. All you need is a random early goal off of a corner kick or something, and it throws France into a loop. Spain looked amazing. I gotta say,
they're just so defensively sound. They haven't given up a single goal this entire World Cup.
Dave, I hope you're being sarcastic. I don't believe that there's a chip in the ball that they can determine that. Well, okay, let's just say this. Okay, if it is offsides and I am completely wrong, then congratulations to soccer for sucking the fun out of the games. Just like come on. Why do we not want fun in soccer? I don't
agree.
I don't understand. Spain I thought looked incredible. If there's a defense that can that can gobble up Mbappe, it's him. I also didn't realize how good the United States defense has been. I was listening to, they were talking about some analytics and going over some things. The U.S. defense has been absolutely fantastic. Might be looking at unders in the U.S. game coming up. So I think, France and Spain, though, they seem to be the class of it. Yeah, we need Spain to win one more game, and then we cash our biggest future of the tournament. So we're big Spain fans.
If Spain wins one more game, all my futures are free roll. Like, that's what I need too. That's great. I need one more win from them, and then it's really a free roll. So far, I've done okay, but it'll officially be a let it ride if they could get to that final 16 now, or get down to the final 8. It would be at that point.
Did you do any Wimbledon? We hit 4 winners already this morning in doubles. I love the doubles markets, Gianni. This is my jam. Waking up and looking at doubles scores is like my favorite thing.
And listen to this. I have 0 doubles in any accounts, but I put 7 sides in the Steam sheet from Wimbledon. You got me paying attention. So I reached out to someone that does tennis. He gave me a login and password into some accounts to look at the tennis. But no doubles. And that would make sense that you're crushing it because it's who you're trading against. Like, again, no disrespect, but I want to make it as easy as possible. So I'd rather be trading against the most novice and recreational bettors on the planet than the most seasoned veterans. And if they're not attacking these doubles, it makes perfect sense that you're crushing it, because again, you're going to have an advantage over most of those recreational traders. And that is, those kind of markets are just, I love. I just wish I had the time to dig in deeper, but yeah, keep crushing those. But in the Steam sheet, there is 7 sides in Wimbledon action, including a plus 130 on Arthur Ferry in the men's side. And then in the women's side, Nicola Bartonkuva plus 185, and even Claire Liu plus 750. Wow. Okay. But we also bet the big favorite, that Sabalenka chick. They laid the 330, 340, 350 on Sabalenka. I think that goes off early.
Yeah, Sabalenka to win 2-0 has put people through college.
Yeah,
over the last couple of years, taking Sabalenka to win 2-0 early in the tournaments has just been fantastic. So it's a great Friday, Yanni. We got a ton of stuff. What do you have up for everyone?
Yes, so I got the Steam sheet is up with the 4% in the World Cup. I isolated one total like we've been doing, and I said, let me give it in the Steam sheet today. I'll add information throughout the day. Major League Baseball's coming up. The soccer's in there. Tennis is even in there. I'll add World Cup action. And please, subscribers, the partners, the long-term guys, pay attention to the Steam sheet to uncover some winners for yourself, because I'm staying so selective, and that's not going to change as far as premiums go. So best of luck to everyone. Enjoy your 4th of July. No Steam room because of the holiday. I don't want to, have it and have people that are away for the weekend not being able to attend it. So we're just going to pass this week. Have a good 4th of July. I have the craziest weekend plan. I'm so tied up and busy out here, so it's probably for the better. And do some damage. Enjoy the World Cup action, and stay safe. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you, Gianni. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Gianni the Greek joining us. You can find all of his plays over at WagerTalk.com. We've got a pretty good setup for auto racing this weekend. We've got a pack that is up right now. We've got a 4% best bet, and we got plays in IndyCar. We got plays in NASCAR. We got plays in the O'Reilly series. The O'Reilly series starts on Saturday. So if you want to join in on that, go grab that. We've also got a bare knuckle boxing play that goes off tonight. At the end of the show, I'll do a quick little breakdown on the card tonight. And we've got a play in the Canada game. We wanted to lock that thing in because the line was moving on a prop that we really like. So that's up at WagerTalk.com. Again, great morning. Absolutely fantastic morning. Four winners to get the day started. So the doubles markets. I love the doubles markets in tennis because The lines just don't move. I'm not competing. Like Gianni said, I'm not competing against anybody. I'm competing against people in our Discord who are betting kind of the same things, but we're not even competing. We're betting on the same thing. So, all right, let's bring in Teddy Covers. We got to talk some MLB, but of course, when we have the great Teddy Covers on, we got to talk NBA. Teddy, happy Friday, happy 4th. How are you?
Andy Lang, how are you today, sir? And first, happy 4th of July to all of you out there. I hope you have a great weekend. As Gianni said, be safe, be smart, and thanks for watching WagerTalk TV. All you.
Are you a fireworks guy? I like watching fireworks. I never want to set them off myself. I'm just too. I'm like, I don't know. These fireworks just seem a little bit rickety for me to be lighting myself. I've never done it. You?
So yeah, Isaac. So my son is an aficionado. So we usually go out. There's a place in Vegas. You drive out to Pahrump where they sell everything, and there's a fireworks store out there. We spend $100 or $2, and then come back with a bunch of stuff to blow up. So yeah, we're ready. Love
it. Yeah, I'll watch all day, but I'm just not sticking my hand near those fireworks. So
I had a buddy that used to run a fireworks store back in Michigan, and at the end of the 4th of July, he would come with all of the fireworks that they couldn't sell that were broken and mangled, and we would do a lot of lighting and running. So I guess from that era. I
just throw them in a bucket, light it, and run away.
There was a lot of that, with drinking and all of that. So don't do what I did. Be smart.
All right. Well, we got to break down some MLB games, but I got to talk to you about some of these NBA trades. We'll start with the big one, the Jaylen Brown. I got to tell you, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I get it in concept. I just don't think it was great execution. My thinking is there's a lot of GMs that are looking at the Thunder and the Spurs and the Knicks, and they're going, you know what? Depth is what wins now with the second apron, and these massive, massive contracts just don't give you a bench. I get it in concept. I just don't think the Paul George and giving up the first was the way to go. Where did you land on the Jaylen Brown trade?
So there were clear. Okay, first let's start with this. In Brad Stevens, we trust. All right. The Boston organization has been good. All right. When Boston's making deals, they tend to be making deals for a reason. So we look at Jaylen Brown, we go, oh my God, this guy's coming off the best season of his career and all of that. There's no question that behind the scenes there were issues with Jaylen Brown and the Celtics organizationally. Now, I don't know if that carried into the locker room or if that was just upstairs, downstairs, but they wanted Jaylen Brown out. And they got him out. And they got him out. They got out of that massive contract with another massive contract, but at least it ends a year earlier, and a trade at draft capital. What it does do, the Celtics are in a championship window now, and they remain in a championship window, even without Jaylen Brown in the lineup. Philly is in the midst of a championship window themselves, in theory, and yet we've seen comparable versions of a similar Sixers team come up very short in other recent playoffs. That said, if you look at this posing, who's gotten better? Philadelphia is the one team. You say, yeah, they got better. Boston, I can understand the move for the Celtics, and I'm not going to overreact like it seems the markets have done. We say, oh, Boston has no chance. It's an overreaction season. Boston's still live, but Philly's still live, and the movement in the East with Giannis going to Miami and a lot of these players picking up one piece. That hasn't moved the needle for me a whole lot. Philly's the one team who's, in my mind, the powering number has legitimately gone up. And Boston, as of now, I'm going to power rate the Celtics very similar to where I closed out this season. I don't see Boston. It's not a huge loss when you say Jaylen Brown versus Paul George.
The Kawhi move, I think that's a team that you could argue got better or worse. The Toronto Raptors with Kawhi. If he plays and is at an amazing level, yeah, they got better, but we haven't seen it very much from Kawhi. He hasn't won a playoff series since 2021. Yeah. Like the guy just doesn't have the postseason success that he used to.
Yeah, Toronto didn't give anything up. That's the one thing. I mean, when you talk about Brandon Ingram, I'm not going to say he was a failure with the Raptors, but, I'll take a 39-year-old Kawhi over a 32-year-old Ingram any day of the week. I will. And obviously, so will the Raptors. And Grady Dick was he was playing his way out of the rotation last year. So for Toronto to take a swing with a guy who they won a title with makes sense to me. But again, when you're powered in the East, are you putting if you put the Raptors and the Heat in the same kind of category, neither one of them is at this time, in my opinion, is a legit championship contender. They're all behind Cleveland. They're all behind New York. They're all behind Boston, and they're all behind Philly. So for all the moves that Miami has made and Toronto has made coming into the season, neither one of those teams. And of course, we haven't even talked about Orlando or any of the other teams that are, on the Atlanta, who is clearly on their way up in the East. Despite the Charlotte, who made the interesting trade with the LaMelo Ball going to Minnesota. We could talk all day NBA, but the bottom line is the top four in the East last year are still the top four in the East, and we haven't seen the Miamis, the Torontos, at least not in my initial assessment of where I'm going to price these teams coming into the season. I'm not pricing them above the top four, the Philly, Boston, Cleveland, New York quartet, and Detroit. Of all the teams, they might have had the worst. Now they have to pay Duran after he's they have to keep him now. They lost Tobias Harris. I mean, it's the Pistons have not had the offseason they wanted so far.
Is it becoming more and more likely that LeBron maybe doesn't sign with a team and just waits until mid-season to see who he wants to go with? This is kind of strange that LeBron has not ended up on a team at this point. I figured there would be a move pretty quickly. What's your take on LeBron's situation?
Was LeBron going to be 42 this year?
Yeah, he's 41 right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not shocked that LeBron hasn't signed yet. He doesn't need to sign yet. I would be shocked if LeBron doesn't have a situation settled well before the start of training camp. Obviously, you could play half a season. I don't think the only thing LeBron is not money. It's not location. He doesn't need to be in the sun. LeBron wants a ring. He wants to ring. And the way to chase rings is not show up mid-season and, we'll get there maybe. The way to chase rings is, come to training camp and you ever get everyone on the same page. So I'd expect him to sign somewhere. As to where, people as a sports fan, they always ask you two things: who's going to win the Super Bowl this year, and where's this player going to sign? I'm like, well, and those are two questions that are not always the easiest to answer, especially with the player personnel moves. I have no idea where LeBron. I have no inside knowledge of where LeBron's going to sign. When he signs, we'll start paying attention.
The Super Bowl is the funniest. Like, I don't know. Is Josh Allen healthy? You tell me who's going to be the healthiest. So, all right. Well, let's get into MLB. We'll start with the Padres and the Dodgers. Looks like we got King for the Padres, Ohtani for the Dodgers. King really got roughed up by the Dodgers June 28th. Ohtani, not a great June. Below standards for him. Yet they still come in as this massive, massive favorite. It's the Dodgers tax. Over-under sitting at 8. What do you make of this game?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the Dodgers in the minus 250 range, total 8, a little bit of juice to the under. And the Padres had a 6-0 lead last night by the top of the second inning. Machado hit a home run, and Jackson Merrill hit a home run, and Jake Cronenworth hit a home run. 3 veterans they've been dying for some production from, and they got production from all 3 guys. And that 6-0 lead, well, it was gone by the 4th inning. They lost 12-7, Dodgers, and over with the Dodgers' biggest comeback win since 2022. And now LA, they're 26 games above 500, 57-31. They took 2 out of 3 from the Padres in San Diego last weekend. Dodgers, the arrow's pointed up right now. The Padres, the arrow's pointed down, and it's pointed down in a big way. They've lost 6 straight games, and they lost contact in several of those games. That 23-3 loss at Wrigley on Wednesday. And after that loss, there were some quotes. I had the Dodgers and over on my short list today. I didn't play either one. Instead, I got a blown save from Chicago, which was a whole lot of fun. But I found a couple of quotes going into yesterday's game that really made me reluctant to look at the San Diego side. The manager, Craig Stammen, after the 23-3 loss in Chicago. It only counts as 1 loss. We got to remember that. Things are going as poorly as they can right now. We got to find a way to dig deep, dig our way out of the hole. I think there's some grit on this team. We got to dig deeper that if we get negative, we turn on each other, we start pointing fingers, that's when it'll turn in a disaster. Why is that last line there? That's not what you want from your manager. Then you got this one from Gavin Sheets. Quote, I shouldn't have to say it, but we need to turn the intensity up for this next series. Obviously, we get off to slow starts. The game kind of snowballs a little bit. We got to keep it under control, not to let that unravel and affect the way we play. When your veterans are saying, hey, we need to build up the intensity for a series against the first place team in your division in July, those are not bet on quotes for San Diego. Not even a little bit. Now, the concern here, you mentioned it, Andy, in your introduction, was the Ohtani. And since Will Smith, his normal catcher, got hurt, Dalton Rushing's been behind home plate for Ohtani, and he's had his 3 worst starts of the season. 11 runs allowed the last 3 starts. In his 10 previous starts for the full year, he'd given up 7 runs allowed. Clearly, there are issues. That being said, they're still 6-1 in his last 7 starts, and they have an 828 OPS against Michael King in a 124 at-bat sample size. They've seen him, and they hit him. And King, by the way, one of the Padres' erstwhile aces, only 2 quality starts his last 7 trips to the Hill. Dodgers smoked him last week. I could only look favorite and over in this ballgame. Dodgers run line. If you don't want to lay and I'm not excited about Dodgers run line. If I'm going to play the Dodgers, I'll lay the price because the Dodgers have so many wins by 1 run this season. That's kind of their MO. Be Dodgers or over in this one. I do not want the underdog. Nope, I can't hear you.
Teddy covers, we're going to go over Blue Jays and Mariners, and then I want to get your thoughts on NFL. Yeah, hosting 101. When Dan's not here, I just fall apart. Blue Jays versus Mariners. We got Cease versus Castillo. How do you break this game down?
Sure, and again, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen right now. And guys, get your free trial. oddslogic.com/Teddy. Get your free 7-day access to the Odds Logic live odds screen. And it's a great product. I use it every day, legitimately. I can't function without it. Right now, I'm seeing the Blue Jays -125, -130 as road favorites. Total 7 juiced to the over. And it's obviously a rematch of last year's ALCS, where the Blue Jays won in 7 games. A thrilling series, a great series in that. And the quotes from John Schneider, the Blue Jays manager, quote, I think it'll be good for us, talking about going back to where they played in the ALCS last year. It brings you back to that heightened sense of awareness and competitiveness. It brings you back to the really, really emotional time last year. It'll be good to be back there. They're a damn good team. We like playing there, and we enjoy the atmosphere there. I think it'll be good for the guys, honestly. And I agree with that assessment for Toronto. Toronto needs things that are going to point them in the right direction. I mean, they've had a rough go of it for the full season, 5 games under 500. But even 5 games under 500, they just took 2 out of 3 from the Mets. They're only 3.5 games out of the last wild card spot, who Seattle is in right now, by the way. So it's not like the Blue Jays are in any kind of hopeless position right now. They've underachieved. Half the season's over, so they've got a full half to play. Seattle certainly in good current form. They just swept the LA Angels, but only a single run yesterday. They were held without a hit for the first half of that ball game. And that's kind of been the case for Seattle of late. The lineup has been very, very spotty, and by spotty, I mean anemic. They set a franchise record of 13 straight games where they scored 3 runs or less, and they finally had a couple of outbursts. And then yesterday, again, just 2 hits with yesterday's 1-0 win. They didn't get a win in that contest, but the offense and the lineup for Seattle is still problematic. Injuries problematic for the Mariners as well. A pair of guys got hurt yesterday. Julio Rodriguez, Victor Robles, both left yesterday's ballgame with injury. I'm not sure about their status for today, but when you have a bad lineup and you're losing key guys to injury, that's not usually a good sign. Luis Castillo starting for Seattle tonight. His did have a quality start his last time out at Cleveland, but that's been the exception rather than the rule. He's looked a little bit older this year, and that's his first quality start since beating the Yankees back in March. And, of course, the Guardians can't score. I don't know that I trust Castillo in this matchup against Toronto. Dylan Cease has issues as well. His last 3 starts, he's thrown 108, 110, and 107 pitches, and he's only pitched 5.2, and 4.2 innings at work. He's not eating innings. Cease's current form is a concern for this better. But still, I can only look at Toronto in this ball game, and I kind of want to fade Castillo a little bit over, and with Cease's concerns, maybe over 7. But given the Mariners' offensive woes, I'd rather go with Toronto on the side here as road chalk than ask Seattle to put up runs in bunches. So lean Toronto in this one for Friday night.
All right, Teddy, tell everyone what you have up at Wager Talk, and then I want to get your thoughts. Early research being done on the NFL. What do you have up for everyone on this Friday?
Sure. I'm spending, 2-3 hours a day right now, every day doing NFL. I mean, that's what we do in July each and every year. Generally, some years we get it done a little bit earlier in June, but I wanted to wait a little bit longer this year. Last year, I did not have a season win report, and it's not the first time that's happened. But I've never had back-to-back losing seasons. And it matters to me a lot when I don't, that's my whole MO is steady. NFL season wins. When I don't win my season win report, it messes up my season, it messes up everything. So we're really working NFL hard right now. Again, 2, 3, 4 hours every day. 4th of July doesn't matter. I love doing the research over the summer. That's how you make money. And obviously, the win report's going to come out at the end of the month. Don't buy the win report. This is a season to get on board with my full season NFL package. And the win report's $199. You get the full season for $599. That's every play, every day, from week 1 of the preseason through the Super Bowl. Nothing more to buy. No bait and switch. No nonsense. Again, check it out on my homepage, www.buzz/TC NFL on center stage. That said, do have a pair of plays for baseball today. You can get those as well. www.buzz/TC.
All right. Early thoughts on NFL. What teams you've been looking at? Whatever you find. Any gems for us?
Oh, you think I'm giving up the gems on a Friday?
On July 3rd?
Yeah. We'll hold off on the gems. But certainly when you talk about, here's a team I want to talk about a little bit. The Cincinnati Bengals, all right? The Bengals have come with a little bit of hype this offseason. When you look at their schedule, they're facing a bottom schedule after having a losing season last year. We look at Cincinnati, who's drafted defense and changed coordinators, and it hasn't worked for them on the defense side of the football. When you grade out their defensive personnel, Bengals, there's talent there, and the coaching changes. It looks to me like that Cincinnati's arrows pointed in the right direction on the defense side of the football. You have a quarterback in Joe Burrow who we trust. We have an offensive line that looks good. We have skill position talent that looks good, and we have a schedule that's reasonable. Arrows pointed upwards for the Bengals. Pay attention to Cincinnati right now. And if you want your futures for the Bengals, I would bet them sooner rather than later. The markets are paying attention to Burrow and company. Although Zach Taylor, as when you talk about coaches that we love, Zach Taylor's not on that list.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for me to put my hard-earned money on an over on the Cincinnati Bengals, but in Teddy, I trust. So can't wait to keep talking NFL with you.
We're in the process here. We're talking about teams that stand out looking good and teams. I give you teams that stand out looking bad, but let's save that for next week.
Yeah, let's save the horrible teams for next week. Love it. Well, Teddy, tell Isaac I said hi. Enjoy the fireworks and have a great 4th of July. Thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, guys. Have a great holiday. Be safe out there, and we'll do it again next week. Cheers.
Yeah, stay hydrated. Man, brutal out here. Let's bring in Marco. Marco, I was out in Vegas a couple years ago for the Wager Talk thing, and it's just amazing what humidity does to the air. Like it is when I walk outside, it is like walking into a brick wall of humidity in Vegas. It's just this dry, like ridiculous heat. But quite frankly, it's miserable here. But how are you?
Oh, I'm good. And when I first moved out here, that's all I heard about was everybody, oh, it's a dry heat. It's a dry heat. It was 117 degrees. I'm saying it's a convection oven out here. Yeah, it's dry, but it's hot. But you know what? I was back east for 2 weeks, just a couple weeks ago, and I experienced that 90-degree humidity. And I will no longer bitch when anybody says it's a dry heat out here, because it is a huge difference. And horse racing, big. A lot of tracks have been canceling races on the East Coast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of that weather. The heat index is just, so high. So it's crazy, how hot it's been. And I feel for you, buddy. And I got to go back for a wedding in the middle of July. So I hope we get rid of that humidity before the wedding, because there's nothing worse than 90-degree humidity than being in a suit.
On a wedding? Oh, an outdoor wedding. Oh my God. Yeah. We're going to the Tigers game on Tuesday. I'm like, oh. So we'll see. But we got to talk some NBA. Great game tonight. Lynx and the Liberty. This Lynx team is just on absolute cruise control. This number 1 defensive rated, number 3 offensive rated. Yeah, that'll get you a lot of wins. But Liberty, not much worse. That's their first meeting this season. This is a rematch of the finals a couple years ago. But monster game if you're a WNBA fan. So what do you make of this game?
Well, I am a WNBA fan, and this is one of those games. And as good as Minnesota is playing, Andy, you got to remember, they're sitting at 14-5, and they have not had Nafisha Collier in a game yet this year. Okay, their best player, coming into the season, has not been there. Now, what has changed with this team? Well, how about the odds-on rookie of the year, Olivia Miles? If you have not seen her play, she is just absolutely amazing. She's averaging just under 19 points a game. She's shooting in an insane 52% from the field, and she's hitting 33% of her shots from 3. Yeah, she's odds on lock for Rookie of the Year. But you mentioned these two teams played 2 years ago in the WNBA finals. And I'll tell you, Minnesota has not forgotten that finals. If you remember how that finals played out, Minnesota fans, and I had a big futures ticket on Minnesota that year, so I remember it well too. They got jobbed by the officials in Game 5 at the end of regulation that sent that game into overtime. That let the Liberty win the game, and it was the series. And they haven't forgot that. Last year, they played 4 times. First 3 games, Minnesota pounded them. They did lose the final meeting last year, but if you go back and look at the box score in that game, Collier didn't play in that one. 3 other Lynx players did not play. They only had 8 players dressed for that game, and that's the only one they lost to them. So they make a big emphasis of reminding New York who the better team is, and they're going to show up tonight. Now, for the Liberty, we're going to pull out all the Marco-isms for you. We're going to talk about fat and sassy. They're coming off winning the Commissioner's Cup on Tuesday. They beat their arch rival, Vegas Aces. And yeah, they did it. It's a little tainted. They did it without the Aces having Asia Wilson in the game, but they still won it. And if you're not familiar with the Commissioner's Cup, the WNBA winning team divvies up $500K. Now, I know when you think about sports athletes, $500K, divided up among the players doesn't sound like a lot. But for the WNBA players, for most of the players, that is good money when you look at their contracts. Yes, they got a big raise this year, but still, it's significant money for them. So I'm going to play the fat and sassy card with the Liberty tonight. I am going to look to fade them. Minnesota wants to show them you might have the Commissioner's Cup, but we're the best team in the WNBA right now. Lay it with Minnesota.
Mark, I was so mad yesterday. So I did the play of the day to start the show. Well, for yesterday's play of the day, I did it the night before, and I took the Connecticut Sun because they've been covering spreads. They've actually won a couple games. Well, I put it in at 8.5, and then come showtime at 6.5. So I didn't get credit for it.
Yeah.
That team's a bet on. They only lost by 3. They were winning in the 4th. They're getting better. Teddy got excited. He jumped in and said, "Yeah, when you have a bad team that starts covering spreads, they're improving. Takes the market a while to get up." I'm betting on the Connecticut Sun moving forward.
And you're absolutely right, Andy. And what it is coming into the season, they were the worst team in the league roster-wise. But you got a mix of, they brought in some veterans that maybe are at the end of their career, Brittany Griner for one. And they have a mix of young players. So it's taking a while for them to gel and figure everything out. But because the market, I swear, the average bettor, they're like elephants. They don't forget what they saw at the beginning of the season. What you saw at the beginning of the season is not what you're seeing here during the course of the season. And you know what? I always give the bookmakers a lot of respect. Okay. Most people think, they're smarter than the bookmakers. I say they know what they're doing. Okay. They're taking care of, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars every day and making decisions. They know what they're doing. But when it comes to the WNBA, I don't think so. Okay. I'm going to call it for what it is. There's mistakes made. The other night, Andy, I love props, and the biggest inefficiency in the prop market for the WNBA is when a key player is out of the lineup. They don't know what to do with the rest of the props, okay? Because all they do with props, Andy, this is what they do. They look at the season average for what that player, what each player does, and they look at the last 3 to 5 games. And if it's swaying one way, they'll move the line 1 point based on a recency bias. That's it. You take a key player out of a game, they don't know what to do. And I smacked a prop the other night in the Commissioner's Cup. We cashed it halfway through the third quarter because it was absolutely mispriced. You didn't account for Asia Wilson's points and shots not being there. Somebody else was going to get it. Yeah, the obvious is, Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray is going to, get more looks. But there's going to be a role player that's going to get those minutes that you got to give to Asia Wilson. And we smacked that with Carter in that game on Tuesday night. And I'm going to continue to do it. I'll let everybody make fun of me going to WNBA games and watching WNBA games. And I'll say, you know what? My summer vacations the WNBA is paying for.
Yeah, nobody's making fun of winning plays, Marco, for sure. So, speaking of Asia Wilson, we've got the Sky versus the Aces. This has just been a horrific stretch for the Sky. They start the season, they win 3 out of the first 4 games. Now they're 3-12 after that start, and Vegas just beat them. But Asia Wilson absolutely dominated them in that matchup. But she is upgraded to questionable. So she was doubtful. Now she's questionable. Game time decision. It's line's holding at 8.5. What do you make of the Sky and the Aces?
Yeah, well, the big question is she going to go or not? And when it comes to Asia Wilson, Becky Hammond is very cautious. Okay, and for good reason. All right, she is the best player on the planet. There's no doubting that. And you're playing a team that, let's be honest, if you're Vegas, in your mind, you think you just have to show up and you can win this game, okay? But with that aside, okay, we're looking at a number that's still 8.5 in this game. I can't get excited about Vegas in tonight's game. First off, they're not playing at their normal location. This game's not at Mandalay Bay at the Michelob Arena. This is being played at T-Mobile, okay? And this game and Sunday's game. Now, obviously, Sunday's game is because it was the Indiana Fever coming to town. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark's already been ruled out of Sunday's game. So, there'll be some seats available at T-Mobile that wouldn't have been had Caitlin Clark been playing. So being that it's not their normal location, being that they're coming back home from the Commissioner's Cup game, and prior to the Commissioner's Cup game, Vegas had played 3 games in 5 days and then went on the road to that Chicago game, then went from Chicago to play the Commissioner's Cup in New York, in which they played their guts out without Asia Wilson. They were down double digits for almost that entire game and actually battled all the way back and had a 2-point lead in the fourth quarter before before the Liberty closed them out and won by 8. This is the classic for me. We use it in football season a lot. I'm going to play that card here. and it's lose the same game twice. I think that was such a big game. The Liberty and the Aces have had so much history in the last 5 years in the WNBA that when they battle, I like to look to fade both of those teams in their next outing. And being the situation that, travel, the heartbreak of losing that game, and then the schedule dynamics. This is as good as a sandwich game. Open up the deli. Okay. You're coming off New York and you got Indiana on deck and you're playing Chicago. That in itself lends you to take Chicago. But as you said, they just played Chicago. And the final score was nowhere near as close of what that was. That was a total blowout by the Aces. They had 80-some points, and they were still in the third quarter, Andy, on that game last week. So I'm going to look for Chicago to sneak in under the number in this one. Give me Chicago plus the points. It's one of those plays we joke, Andy, maybe you got to hold your nose as you go to the window to make the bet, but that's the side in this one.
Care to make things interesting, Marco? We got to give away a 3-day pass on today's show.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I'm going head to head with you. I could not be more out on the Chicago Sky team. They're not impressive. I love Cardosa as a player, but it's just there's not a whole lot there. I think Asia Wilson plays tonight, and I think she does the usual kick-ass performance. But she had like 30 and 15 against this team last time. It was a domination. So, all right, chat, here's what we're doing. After the show is over, in the comment section below, if you want the Sky plus 8.5, put Marco in your WagerTalk username. If you like the Aces, put Andy in your WagerTalk username. Whoever wins, we will pick a 3-day pass, and that will be added to your account. I can't believe I'm taking the Aces, and you're not on your team. You're on the Sky. I got to tell you, Marco, Sophie is becoming more popular than Caitlin Clark around here. The shine is starting to wear off on Caitlin Clark. Like, she's just not ingratiating herself, and Sophie is becoming more and more likable. I can't believe it. Caitlin Clark is kind of blowing the 28-3 lead, but she's just the buzz isn't there around here. The buzz is around the team. The buzz is around Sophie, but I don't hear it about Caitlin Clark. She's always hurt. She comes across as whiny. She's arguing with the coach. She's just not doing a great job. And she was kind of handed an impossible task, like, be the face of the league and everything coming to college. I don't know. That's my take. I just Andy, know what I'm seeing locally.
I see you. I see you, Andy. I see you. Is there anybody bigger on social media? Just Sophie pops up in every one of my social media feeds, probably because every time she does, I click on it because let's face it.
There's a reason why
I'm helping the algorithm. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition did not hurt, and the WNBA, and it's a thing, Andy. When you go to the game, when they put up, like in the pre-games, they do the walkthrough. They put it up on the Jumbotron, the players with the walkthrough. My God, Sophie.
Listen. So you have to accept that social media is part of a player's worth. Look at LaMelo Ball. Like the guy is a social media like juggernaut. Like, he's just got a massive. He's probably got a bigger following than Anthony Edwards on the same team. It's a real thing that you have to take into consideration. And you are so right. Sophie pops up on social media for her dancing and looks and everything. Last year it was Caitlin Clark.
So you've clicked a few times?
Guilty as charged. I'm only human. All right. What do you want from me? So it's just like last year it was Caitlin Clark with the shots and the dribble and the passes. It's just not. It's just not. Well, you have to play in order to have the highlights to put on social media. So, Any horse racing for this weekend? I haven't looked. You said they were canceling
Well,
some races. Are there any big ones?
today, for the purist of horse fans, there's a debate. There's the East Coast, West Coast. It's like the rappers, are you East Coast, you West Coast? Saratoga opens today. And then in another week, 2 weeks, we'll be getting Del Mar. Those are the two summer meets that everybody, waits for. And so, yeah, we'll have some spot racing, here and there throughout this coming weeks, summer. There's some big races coming up in the next month. We'll have the Haskell, the Travers. Del Mar will have the Pacific Classic at the end of August, first week in September. So it's exciting time with horse racing. We will, do that. There was a big race last week. The, odds-on favorite, Sovereignty, got beat. Once again, I went against him. I had the horse finish second. They got left in the gate again and then come flying to, they spotted the field like 6 lengths and then ended up just getting beat by Baeza. So write that horse down. Follow him. Baeza, I can't wait to see where he races next. If he doesn't blow the gate, he might be one of the best older horses in the country right now. Take nothing away from Magnitude, who won that race, but Baeza ran the better race.
Nice. What do you have up for everyone today?
I've got a 4% play tonight in baseball, Andy. I came very, very close to making it a 5%. I don't release a lot of 5s. I really like the setup on this game, like the pitching matchup. It is my 4% game of the week. You can pick that up over at WagerTalk by itself for $25. But Andy, why buy one play for $25 with what we got going right now? We've got a 4th of July special at WagerTalk. This is good on any capper. You can pick up a 7-day all-access package, normally $99. You can get it for the price of a 3-day package, $69. It's an absolute no-brainer. Why spend $25 for one play or $35 if somebody has a 5%, where you can pick up 7 days and get everything? I am looking at tonight's Aces game. I am looking at a player prop, but I'm waiting to see the market stabilize. Basically wanting to know if Asia is going to be in or out for sure. That'll dictate the play. And then we'll go from there. And, full weekend, if I do have any horse racing, if I throw in anything from Saratoga over the weekend, if you buy that 7-day all access, you will get that as well. And if you want it, a long-term package, I got a special. This one is with me. The success I've had in the WNBA. We're coming off a great month of June in baseball. We were top 3 money earned in baseball for the month of June. You could pick up the rest of the baseball season, $100 off, Andy, $4.99. If you buy that, I am throwing in the rest of my WNBA, a $259 value free. So if you want to get everything covered for summer, that's baseball in WNBA. That's what I'm going to be doing for the dog days of summer. You can pick that up for $4.99. So head over to WagerTalk, grab one of those 7-day packages from your favorite capper. If you want to go long-term, check out that baseball and WNBA free package.
I was going to bring up to you and Johnny, it's July 4th, 2026. We should do like lifetime for 74,200-2026.
You know what? You go ahead and see if you can get that by Andy. Tell him you got one of the owner's approvals on that. I'll put that. I'll rubber stamp that one through, Andy.
Yeah, or just shorten it to 26. So 7,426 get you a lifetime supply. 1 day only, expires at midnight. All right. Don't email customer service, guys, for Christ's sake. We've got enough going on.
Andy started this, JD, not me.
Andy will not be hosting for the next week due to suspension for all right, Marco, good luck. Have a great weekend, and thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
All right, don't eat too many hamburgers and hot dogs, Andy.
I will not. I'm pretty good on 4th of July. Not a big hot dog guy, but thanks very much. Stay hydrated, Marco.
All right, good luck.
All right. So quick World Cup. I think we kind of covered what Colombia is a massive favorite. Argentina is an even bigger favorite. Australia and Egypt goes off at 2:00. The guys I work with, we do like Egypt to advance. Has not been released as a client play. We do have a client play tomorrow in the Canada-Morocco game. So if you're interested in that, I will be live for bare knuckle. They're doing it's in Philadelphia. It's called the Liberty Brawl. These plays are on FanDuel. I'll give you a quick little rundown. Austin Trout versus Ben Bonner in the main event. Austin Trout minus 440. It's expensive. He should win. Would not bet. Price is too expensive. Britton Hart minus 245 against Sarah Shell. I do like Britton Hart. It's volume versus power, and Britton Hart volume is going to be too much. John Garbarino, the cannoli man himself, versus Mike Richmond. Richmond better level of competition, but he looked really slow in his last fight. Garbarino on his home surface minus 190 should get the win. Montanez versus Matt Mastis. That is going to be an ass kicking. Montanez is going to dominate. Matthew Turnbull minus 310 versus Brandon Hansvik. Brandon Hansvik is awful coming in because they needed a warm body for Turnbull to beat up. He should win. And then your generational wealth bet is Lex Ludlow over Drew Nolan. Drew Nolan is 1-9 as a professional fighter. This guy fights for a living. He doesn't win for a living. And Lex Ludlow is going to absolutely kick his ass. So we do have a bare knuckle bet that is up right now. If you have FanDuel, you can grab that. If you have some of the off screens, you can grab that as well. So hit easy winner on our last bare knuckle fighting. But I will be live on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel tonight to do our live watch along. So thanks very much. Have a great 4th. Be safe. Make sure you guys are staying hydrated. Watch out for your pets. If you're hanging out with them outside, make sure they get plenty of water. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button. And after the show is over, in the comment section, if you think the Sky are going to cover, put Marco and your WagerTalk username. If you think the Aces are going to cover, put Andy and your WagerTalk username. We're going to give away a 3-day pass. Thanks very much for joining us. Have a great 4th weekend. We'll see everyone Monday. Take care.